Hi guys. It started recording like immediately for whatever reason. Today, I'm going to be explaining the entirety of my OC lore. Simply because I want to, and also this one this one DM that I got. Sorry if I don't respond to DMs on TikTok. I forget they were there, and everything goes to the requests, and I forget, and then I look at it and I go, oh shit, I haven't responded. This one person, can you see? It's probably gonna be backwards anyway. It says, please make a YouTube video or something explaining the whole lore of your OC. Yes, I will. If you're new here, my name's Finn. I do videos that are more chill and sweet. And I kind of just talk about whatever I want, really. And I enjoy it. I enjoy my 10 to 15 views that I get. I recently went viral on the TikTok, like 500,000 views. Oh, shine my badge. On my physical world building folder that I have, and I have made. It's not finished yet, because I don't think it'll ever be finished, to be fair. I've already made a video on how I collect my ideas and how I organize them. So if you want to look at that video, you can. And today we're just going to be like explaining it, which I think I've already explained parts of it. So I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but this is it's going to be probably a long video. So, and I'm really tired. I woke up quite early today because I had lectures. And then I couldn't go because I got really nervous. And then I cried in the disability coordinator's office. I also painted my nails. In the last video, I said that I wanted to paint my nails. And they kind of match. Oh. So sweet, so sweet. So, yeah. I have... Hold on. I have context images. What does that mean? So when I discuss a character, and I'm talking about this character, I'll be able to show you, hopefully, a sketch or a digital drawing of them. So hopefully that will give you a visual. I'm also working on a redraw. Wait for it. I'm not 100% on the head anatomy. I feel like it's kind of off. It's a redraw because I have drawn this pose before because I referenced it. But, well, the last time I did it, I like kind of traced certain parts of it. Like the arms are really difficult, so I traced the arms, versus this time I'm just like referencing. So that was my leg, by the way. So I'm hoping that it's probably not as good anatomically, but I did it myself, so I think it's fine. Hold on, I have a picture of it. This is gonna be so like stopping and starting. I wanted to do like non-edited because this is gonna be a really long video. So I'm like, do I want to edit possibly 2 hours of video? The planet itself, it looks like a marble. It's supposed to look like a marble. And the map is this, which I think I've shown before. So the first thing is that there are 5 different regions, the main regions, and they're each a different element. So you have fire, water, nature, space, and then air. And for each of those continents, there is what's called a celestial, which is kind of like a deity that gives power back to the land, and there's this thing called the harvest, which is a like a practice type of thing where every year or cycle, because I call them cycles, every cycle the lambkin, which are the humans, they devote and give offerings and have celebrations and festivals and that sort of stuff for their celestials. And depending on how much they impress the celestials depends on how much affects how much magic is put back into the earth, because the earth can only deal with a certain amount of damage magic. So the planet is called Luster, which means a gentle sheen or glow. And originally, when it was first created by Divinity, who is the god of the world, when it was first created, it kind of cracked under the pressure of all of the elements, forming the different continents. And Divinity created 5 separate stones to harness the power of each of the elements, and then these stones formed protective husks which gained sentience and were then known as celestials. So the celestials decide how much of their power they're going to put back into the earth. They're also not supposed to interact with each other, because apparently it'll cause the end of the world, but that's not true. And they later discover that this lie that they've been fed is a lie, because imagine there are only 4 other people in the world that are like you. Like, you're inherently different, you know? Lambkin aren't immortal, but celestials are. So they only have 4 other people other than themselves that are the same as them, and being told, yeah, you can't ever see them, ever. What? The only people that are exactly like you, who would understand the struggles of being you, not allowed to be around them, man. Not allowed. So the idea of my story is the idea of morality. I'm very interested in the idea of morality. Morality and ethics. What does morality and ethics mean? So morality it can be defined by culture, your upbringing, politics, religion, that sort of stuff. So if you have somewhere in some country and they say, I don't know, murder's illegal, but in another country it's not. I don't know whether that's true. But would your morals change depending on where you're living, or would they stay the same? Who defines what's right and wrong? Is it politics? Is it the government? Is it some religion? Even though everybody has, well, not everybody, but most people have different religions depending on anything, really. Or is it defined by the way your family's brought you up? How do we define what's good and bad? And then also the idea of, does it even matter? I'm not religious, but I do believe that certain religions are, this is going to sound offensive, are curated with the promise of a good afterlife if you are nice to other people. Trying to give people a motivation to be nice to others. Oh, if you're a nice person, you'll go to heaven. Maybe just be a nice person because you want to be a nice person. So my entire story is talking about the idea of morality, and kind of there's beauty and attractiveness will affect how people see you as moral or not moral. Less attractive people usually kind of get more shunned than more attractive people, even if they've done the same thing. We see it when people find criminals sexy just because of their looks, and it's they murdered their partner. That's not sexy. That's so weird. I mean, depending on the circumstances. I would argue that taking the life of someone isn't morally acceptable. But if it's in a situation where it's like you are the other person and it's self-defense, or you're trying to get out of a situation that is incredibly harmful, there's no way you can get out of it, it's like, I'm not saying you should have done it, but at that point, what were you supposed to do? Because there's certain situations where you can't just call the police or whatever. So it's like, or you have like the death sentence. Is the death sentence morally acceptable? It depends on who you're talking to. So what is that even? What is good and evil? It's nothing. It means nothing. The idea of good versus evil and how a god's morality can be questioned. The idea of a god being all-powerful and, being able to control everything, but all the suffering in the world, they're either ignorant to it and decide not to stop the suffering in the world, or they're not powerful enough to be able to stop it. Therefore, they're not all-powerful. My idea on this is, I feel like a lot more of a realistic way to view a god is that minuscule day-to-day bad things need to happen. Babies being born with cancer, do not understand that. Do not understand that at all. Day-to-day things that make you upset, they need to happen because they make each good day seem that much better. Every bad day makes each good day seem better. Am I saying that you falling over on your face into a puddle was like for the greater good? No. What I am saying is the next day, when you buy yourself some ice cream, seems so much nicer because you're like, I had such a shit day yesterday. So I think that there is a certain amount of bad that kind of needs to happen. Maybe that's just me being depressed. It might be that as well. So yeah, story follows the betrayal and sacrifice of the mortal mind. It questions morality and the validity of its cause. Yeah, so you have the Lambkin. The Lambkin they're also called star holders because Lambkin are all made from stardust, which, in case you don't know, in actual science, we are made from, I think it's like the explosion of stars or something, so technically you're a star. Like, you're a star! Like actual science. Real science. If you believe in science. I don't know. Certain parts of science I'm like, but I failed science GCSE, so what would I know? That wasn't even funny. Why did I laugh at that? Anyway, yeah, the Lambkin are made from stardust, and they were one of the first creations that Divinity made. Divinity made pretty much every creation, but they started with the Lambkin. And the Lambkin, they look different depending on which continent they're from. So as an example, the fire continent is more lions because each of the celestials can turn into an animal. And Clytemnestra, who I can get a picture of. Hold on. Clytemnestra. It's like, I can't even pronounce it. It has like a special accent on the E. I failed all of my languages, so I don't know how to pronounce it. This is Clytemnestra. She looks a bit different now. A bit different. I have another image of her somewhere, I think. Somewhere. Here. These ones. This one? And this one. She is the fire celestial. She's gorgeous. And she can transform into a lion. So the Lambkin from her continent resemble lions. Well, lions or tigers, I haven't decided. I think it was like a lioness or something. But Lambkin, they don't have any powers. They're just kind of like humans. And they had this idea that if Divinity was capable of everything and was this all-powerful being, then they're allowing us to suffer and not doing anything about it. So they're an asshole. I have this quote. I have really nice quotes. I wrote them, by the way. I got my mom to read through my world building thing because I had to like rewrite a bunch of it because I lost the digital version. And I got my mom to read through it, and she does a English language course or English literature. I can't remember. She's in uni, right? She's in the same uni as me. And she looked over it and she was like, "Did you use ChatGPT for this?" I was like, "No, I did it myself." Okay. If it is truly divinity who provides us with life and peace, then equally they must be tormenting us with war and fragments of guilt. In this chamber we call home, yet trapped in an entertainment ritual for our God to witness our very demise. Very serious business. Like, this is how I write stuff. It's so like metaphorical. And anyway, the Lambkin rebelled, basically. They were like, we're not praying to a god that lets us suffer because that is stupid. We hate you. And there's no one who's really right or wrong, but divinity's pissed off. It's like if you have like a mother and you're the child and you're being a little twat, and it's like, I've cared for you. What the fuck are you doing? So divinity gets really pissed off, which is really funny because it's kind of human of them to get really mad about it. They got really mad and they were like, I want you to suffer. I want to wipe you out and start fresh, but first I want you to suffer. So they created 5 different stages of soldiers to eventually wipe them out, which is kind of inspired by Pacific Rim. If you've ever seen Pacific Rim, when it's later explained why these monsters, why these kaijus are coming up from the Pacific Rim. Oh my god, that's why it's called it. Shut up. So they're why these kaijus are like coming up and stuff. It's basically because they sent out soldiers in like phases, and they tested and saw how powerful the humans were able to be, and that's why you go from category 1s to category 5s or something, because they increase the amount because they learn off of the way the humans fought back. It's kind of like that. So each stage is more powerful and more, they learn off of the Lambkin's weaknesses, basically. And so there's one for each continent. So again, they are based around the continent. So my favorite ones, which are the ones I have the most amount of information on, are the Light Seekers. Can you guess which region they're from? I feel like Dora the Explorer. They are from the air region. So Light Seeker, they have really, really bad eyesight because the Lambkin, they believed that, so divinity, as an example, divinity is a huge eyeball with a sword to the middle and with wings. So the Lambkin, when they killed animals for food or for sport or for whatever, they would slash the eyes, and this was specifically in the air region. They would slash the eyes of the animals before they killed them because they believed that that way divinity wouldn't see their sins. Not true, but still. So all of the soldiers are made from stardust and the animal bones of the continent that they're made from. So the Light Seekers have the animal bones of those animals that had their eyes slashed. So the Light Seekers have really, really sensitive eyes. So they usually close their eyes all the time. And in case you don't know, you can see light. If you close your eyes and shine light over it, you can still see it. So the Light Seekers have their eyes closed, but they use light to navigate around the world, hence the name Light Seekers. Also because Starscream, which is a Transformer, is a seeker. So the Light Seekers are the main ones because I haven't really worked on the other ones yet. I have names for them, but I might change them because they're a bit corny. But it's fine because I'm in phase 1, which is the Lightseekers one. I also have what's called the Major Arcane. The Major Arcane is it's tarot cards. So I have tarot cards that I can show you. Each one of these packs has what's called the Major Arcane. I'm pretty sure it's just called the Major Arcane, where it is 12 cards of like the main cards. If you think of a regular pack of cards, you have like the king, the queen, whatever, kind of like that. So each major event, which is a character that majorly affects the story, has their own card, which can be flipped, because in case you don't know, tarot cards can have a reversed meaning and a upright normal meaning. So as an example, Divinity has the Tower, which is currently in an upright position. The Tower represents change in the most radical and momentous sense. It is for this reason the card itself is so unnerving visually. It represents sudden and profound change, upheaval, and challenges of the unexpected, chaos and destruction. The Tower card in tarot is the breakdown of old structures, beliefs, and ways of thinking. It indicates a shocking and unavoidable event that can shake the very foundation of one's life. It can imply that something new can be built from the ruins of old. Just when one thinks they are safe and comfortable, a tower moment will hit and throw you off course. A lightning bolt of clarity and insights cut through like a freshly sharpened blade, slicing through the lies and illusions you have been telling yourself. The truth coming to light. Your world may come crashing down before you in ways you could have never imagined as you realize the harsh truth that you've been building your life on unstable foundations. False assumptions, mistruths, illusions, and blatant lies. You're now questioning what is real and what is not, what you can rely on and what you can not trust. It's confusing, disorienting, your core beliefs challenged. Let this structure self-destruct so you can rebuild and refocus. You have no choice but to surrender to the destruction and chaos, no matter how unwanted or painful. And in quotes, give in to the chaos of the divine. Let yourself be reborn in my image. So, what does this mean? What does this mean? Basically, Divinity is a liar. That's the shortened version of that. Divinity gives beings a certain amount of knowledge, divine knowledge, and sometimes it can be skewed and sometimes it isn't. If you see any of my characters with any sort of eyes on them, like anywhere, that means that they are a lot more influenced by divinity because they are letting divinity look through them. So as an example, Orion, this one, Orion has an eye in the center here in the shape of a star. He is this space celestial. And Attis, who is the nature celestial, has multiple eyes, kind of like a spider, because he's from the, yeah, I said he was nature. Where did I put the other one? No, not that one. Where did I put it? It's like this one. Isn't he sweet? So, yeah. So, divinity is kind of like the knowledge bringer. I also have a language, which is, it looks like constellations. I try and show you. It looks like constellations. I was thinking of having 2 different types of language. One for divinity, who uses this language to talk to the celestials or the soldiers, and then having this language for the lambkin, because the lambkin are made from stardust, and then Orion is the space celestial, so I felt like it would make sense for Orion to make a language for them so they could communicate with each other, because all beings have a right to communicate with each other. So I'm still working on that concept though, but yeah. He also, Orion made the Norio zodiac, which is kind of how they tell time. There is a type of calendar that is real that you tell time based on the different constellations you can see in the sky. At certain times of the year, you can see constellations better. So it's like it could be a way to measure time. And Orion is a painter, and he drew the constellations of the Celestials and their shape-shifted animals because he missed them. No, he missed them. So each month, my stomach's gonna rumble so bad in a minute. Each month, which I called the month something else, and I can't remember what it was. Each month, hold on. I just called the month Norio. I should have known that. Each month, which is 48 days, I think it's 48 days, a new constellation. You can see the different constellation. That's how they tell time. So therefore, each of the months are based off of the shape-shifted form of the Celestials, which are kind of just translated into Greek. So as an example, I mean, it might be Greek, I don't actually know. The lioness, which is Clytemnestra, is Loaina. Loana? Loa? I'm not even gonna try. Oh, I know what else I can talk about, right? So I wanted my war to be realistic. And I thought, if you have a bunch of weird flying angels, because that's what light seekers are, come down from the sky and start murdering a bunch of people, what sort of security measures would you put in place? So, first of all, you have the luminosity soldiers, which are lambkin, regular lambkin, that use man-made object wings to fly around and try and kill the light seekers. You also have what's called the Eclipse Project, which was created by Moon, which stands for something. I can't remember what it was. Ministry of something. Obscure something, I think. I don't even know my own lore. I write too much, so I forget things sometimes. I'm sorry. So they created this awful, awful project where they took the DNA of birds and mixed it with lambkin to make these weird chimera type mixtures. It's really disgusting. And that's the more unethical way, and the luminosity soldiers are the more ethical way of doing it, like volunteers of soldiers. And then as a result, there is then this separate issue. Divinity is quite arrogant, and if you use man-made object in replacement for your divine body, they will completely cast you out. Especially if you're a soldier. If you're a soldier, you'll no longer have connection to divinity. You'll no longer have the knowledge that they give you. So some of the light seekers get their wings chopped off by the lambkin, either for like research or just out of cruelty. And the light seekers, they try and use the luminosity soldiers' wings to replace their wings, but divinity sees this as disrespect towards them. So my phone completely stopped recording. So the difference between the two is that if you use man-made object in replacement for your divine body, cast out. If you use it in addition to your divine body, you're fine, as long as you're not ruining divine body. There's also a thing called the Beyond, which is a separate magic source. So if any sort of magic is separate from divinity or the planet or the elements, then it is part of the Beyond, which is something that Orion is specifically looking into, because space doesn't just mean moons, suns, stars. It also means like dreams, alchemy, that sort of stuff. Also emotions a little bit. So the Beyond is what's responsible for the celestials and other random beings being able to shapeshift. It's a lot more of a morality based thing. The Beyond is the being that decides who gets powers, who gets the shapeshifting ability based off of, who they are as a person, and whether or not whether or not the Beyond thinks that they deserve it. So I also have like lots of information on the individual celestials and like where I got their names from. So for a lot of my characters, I do the symbolism of each of the elements, and then I also give them the symbolism of their color, because each of them have their own separate color, and each of them also have their own separate stones. So Clytemnestra, as an example, has the Bloodstone, which is nicknamed the Warrior Stone, and she's a warrior. Originally she was supposed to be Greek, but now I'm not so sure anymore. She is a kind of ish, like a gladiator type of character. She has a festival that was created for her, so as a way for the Lambkin to praise her, they made a big arena, and each year they will fight in this arena for this specific medallion, which does have a name, but I can't remember. And they fight for this medallion, and depending on how well they perform, depends on, like, affects the amount of energy she puts into the earth, etc. And then there's also Kova Sue Galen, who is the water celestial. She's this one. She is very peaceful, very sweet. She's just pretty. She doesn't have much of a story at the moment. When I was deciding what I wanted my celestials to look like, I was originally going to make her a pirate, but I decided to make her more like a sea goddess type of thing. I also did a redesign for Orion, which you've seen a couple of times. So he's supposed to be kind of like a jester in a way, but I wanted him to look more like a lamb because he's closely connected to the lambkin. So I wanted him to resemble a lamb to show his connection to them, because he's one of the only celestials that have sympathy for the lambkin, especially because he has a much bigger connection to them, not only because he's the space celestial and they're made of stars, but he made months for them, he made time for them, he made language for them. I haven't yet figured out why he's so sympathetic towards them, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. you also have one of my main OCs, which, the one that I draw the most, this one. She's called Lucilia Gravestone, and she is one of my first OCs that I really, like, put effort into. Like, I always wanted to be one of those artists that has a lot of OCs and like their own little story and everything. So I made her for one of my projects, and I've like changed her design a little bit, but not much. She's a light seeker, and she was made from a really, really big shard of a star. So she kind of has always been conscious in a way, and she is very heavily connected to divinity. And I think it's because she's divinity's first soldier. I haven't quite decided yet, but she also gets possessed by divinity a lot, like a lot. She is the most devoted to divinity and blindly devoted, which is funny because she is partially blind. And oh, I love her so much. She's so connected to divinity and is possessed by divinity a lot, and you can tell when she's possessed by divinity because she will have this sword through her face, basically. So usually, I don't think I have any drawings of it on my sketchbook. So usually she has a septum, like a V-shaped septum, and a V spiky labret. But when she's possessed by divinity, she has this sword through her face instead. This is what she looks like. Wait for it, wait for it. All these drawings are done by me, in case you didn't know. Oh, she's so beautiful. I love her so much. So yeah, she is possessed by divinity a lot, to the point where she doesn't even really know who she is, like if her thoughts are her own or if they are divinity's. And eventually she kind of blocks divinity out. Here's another picture, a better picture of the sword. She eventually blocks divinity out and is like, realizes that divinity is this controlling and awful being, and is severed from the connection of being able to understand the divine language, being like having all the knowledge, and has to rely on books of shitty translations that the Lambkin have tried to use. And she ends up meeting one of my other OCs who is a pirate, a sky pirate, who's like in these airships. It's really cute. And that's how she discovers that Lambkin aren't these awful beings that she's been conditioned into thinking that they are. And eventually she progresses through the story and realizes that no one's really good or evil, and she ends up replacing divinity as the new god of the world, and is like, I'm gonna do better, I'm gonna be better than you, I'm not gonna, allow suffering. And then through not allowing suffering, everyone is these mindless, like depressed husks of people that just don't experience happiness, that are just, there's no pain, and with no pain comes no feeling and nothing. And they end up losing their personality, because sometimes it's through the struggles we face that we learn and we get better and we grow as people. And she realizes that, and so she realizes that divinity was right all along, and this mother figure that she killed, that she full on just murdered, was right this entire time. And so she ends up becoming divinity in this vicious cycle of, I need to implement suffering into the Lambkin's life, so I'm going to create some soldiers to implement suffering. And it's just this loop. I don't know whether that's the most original story, but that's the story, basically. There's lots of little things that I need to work on still. Like, I've only really worked on the Light Seekers. As far as, like, weaknesses and strengths, the weaknesses is obviously that most of them are blind or just generally can't see very well. And the strengths, they can scream really, really loud and like shatter and burst your eardrums. So this all came from me having this really, really bad headache. I don't even know what it was. Basically, I had this really awful headache that it felt like I was being strangled. I had all this pressure here, and my face was swollen more than usual, and my face was like twitching, and I felt like my head was gonna explode from the inside out. Don't know why. Don't know why that happened. It just did. Um, and basically, they can scream so loud that it like goes into your ears and like vibrates around your head and makes your head pop. Very lovely. And that's kind of their main skill. Obviously, they have like wings so they can fly around, but mainly it's just screaming. So if I were to use that and think of where I could go from that, I would argue that earmuffs, like the lambkin will probably develop some form of earmuffs to combat that. As far as the other soldiers, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. The nature ones, I have this idea. It's all heads coming off. Why is it heads coming off? This idea of when you chop off the heads of these soldiers, that they will just come back, because you can chop the head off of a flower and won't it regrow? Or am I stupid for thinking that? I don't know. So you can't kill them by chopping off their head. So there's probably some, like, you have to stab through their heart or something different. And then you have the sea creaturey ones, which I think I'm just gonna make it so they look like they drowned. The drowned, but like not Minecraft. I love Minecraft. And then the fire ones, I was thinking of like molten lava type lions. And then the space ones, not a fucking clue. I don't have any idea what to do for the space ones. Like, I wanted some form of soldier that is from the beyond. Not a soldier, just more a being from the beyond. So I would imagine that they would be this weird galaxy looking thing. But then, or like a shadow. Oh my god, guys. Oh my god. You know in 13 Wishes where they have the shadow genie? And like the shadow realm, I could do it where the beyond is a shadow realm. And because I was confused, I was like, how do you access the beyond? I was like, what if it's shadows? That's so cool. And like, every being has their own shadow. So like, these soldiers, these soldiers that come from the beyond, that are like this morally right thing, because the beyond is what gives everyone their powers, their shape-shifting abilities. You could have it so each person has their own shadow, has to fight their own shadow, and then they're like, how do we defeat them? And it's through light that they defeat them. And this probably kills the light seekers because they can't suffer from light. That's so cool. Sorry, this is my idea process. It's usually just me yapping and then going, oh, wait a minute. That's so cool. Oh my god. And then the shapeshifted animals, I was just gonna have them be regular animals, but they could be shadows instead. So they could be shadows of the animal. That's so cool. Anyway, I'm not sure what else to explain. I have to edit this now, which hopefully shouldn't take too long because I don't like to edit it too much. I think that's all I can say. If you want some information on Lucilia, she has like an armor that she was given. So through each task that she did for divinity, she gained a piece of armor. And eventually she has that taken away from her because she was an ass to divinity and got it taken away. And because divinity likes to play games. Divinity likes to play games, and Lucilia has always been Divinity's favorite. So Divinity hid parts of her armor around the world and the continents, and through finding her armor, she kind of regains memory and knowledge, and eventually, that's why she doesn't wear a lot of armor at the moment, because she hasn't fully found it all. So when people are like, oh my god, I hate how you sexualize women, like, this is another Knight character that just isn't realistic, and I'm like, you don't know this story. You don't get it. And then, I had someone say that my OCs were very modest, other than Clytemnestra, who just has her baths out, and I'm like, but gladiators, they have their shirts off, and they're men, and they're fighting, and they have their shirts off. Why can't a woman be like that? It's so annoying. Like, I hate when people see nudity in art and immediately think, oh my god, you're such a gooner. Like, no. Can we go back to the artisticness of nudity, please? Please? I want to be able to, post without getting shadow banned. Without having to put little stars over the nips. Release me! Anyway, I've been playing Marvel Rivals. I made a friend. Hopefully. Hopefully. And I've been wanting to play Marvel Rivals for a while, but I don't know. As soon as anything's like, oh my god, you should totally play this, No. I can't do it. But I decided to play it, and I really like playing Iron Fist. He's so sexy. As far as Marvel characters, I thought it was gonna be sick for a second there. Oh my god. As far as Marvel characters that I like Spider-Man, I like Moon Knight. I love Moon Knight. I like Wolverine. I like looking around my room. Are those the only ones I like? Pretty much. I like Deadpool, but he's kind of been ruined by Ryan Reynolds. I liked his performance, but the media is trying so hard for me to hate Ryan Reynolds. I don't know whether I hate him. I just want to enjoy the movies. I don't give a shit about celebrities. Like, I don't care. I don't care what a celebrity has done, because I just want to watch the movie. I hate it when you have like a favorite artist and you're like, I love this artist, and they're like, he beat someone up. Alright, I'm not listening to him beat someone up on the album, I'm just listening to the music. It's this thing of like supporting problematic artists because you're giving them money, and I'm like, how do you know what I'm doing? You don't know how I'm accessing this music. I shouldn't say that. I'm joking. My favorite artist is Avenged Sevenfold. If anything ever comes out about Avenged Sevenfold being problematic, never. I can't listen to like bands that have been outed as problematic because it's all I think of when I'm listening to it. So it'll get ruined for me. So Five Finger Death Punch. I unironically like Five Finger Death Punch. He's a wife beater. I mean, check the source material, but like, what? Now this might be a lie, but it's ruined. I can't listen to them anymore. And I really like Sleep Token. I love Sleep Token. And I'm like, if anything ever comes out, it's ruined. Anyway, I really like playing Iron Fist, and I really like the outfit that he got. I posted it on my Instagram. In case you want to follow my private Instagram and you want to be friends, everyone just goes, no, no. See how slow my phone is? This is my old phone anyway. I have 2 phones because I'm unbelievably rich. I'm not. I love his voice too. Like, oh, give it to me. Why is his like main picture him like pouting? Why are you doing that? What are you doing all that for? This is, hold on. Where's my other phone? Oh, I'm recording on it. You dickhead. That's enough for today. I'll show you the Kirby figure in more detail. It's also Mother's Day soon. I'm skint. Mother, you're getting a shoebox. I actually have a box somewhere. Just give her a box. No, I'm kidding. I care about my mother deeply, and I really want to get her something that reflects that. But I am skint. And like any money I spend is being spent on food. I have ice cream in the cupboard, in the freezer. Anyway, if you have any specific questions, ask me. Even if I don't have an answer immediately, because I haven't considered it, I will work on an answer. So, also this is my hair, and it's more natural lighting. I haven't decided whether I like it. I have quite chubby cheeks, and as much as I enjoy having short hair, sometimes I feel like it accentuates it, and it makes me feel really insecure. Also, I don't drink a lot, so it's probably that as well. So I'm like, you know, like the dream face reveal, where he's specifically at this angle. Anyway, I'm not gonna point that out. No more insecurities. I made a gratification, a grateful journal to try and not have depression anymore. So I am trying to be more positive. I got a new follower. I'm trying to be more positive. Wink. I hope that was half decent. Look at my Optimus Prime there. Roll out! Or whatever he says. I don't know.